Good afternoon, everyone. This is Nitya Ramachandra from the NRI4 Show. This is episode 1022, live with our special co-host today, Brandon Graham, from his page called Superflex Sports. Go follow him on Instagram. He does some awesome stuff, great content, and I'm pleasure to have him on today's show as a special co-host for this amazing interview today. We're joined by a really special guest, former Miami NFL offensive tackle Bryant McKinnie. He's a Super Bowl champion with the Baltimore Ravens. He's from Woodbury, New Jersey. Man, what a great career. He played for the Minnesota Vikings, Baltimore Ravens, Miami Dolphins. And man, not only he's a great football player, but he can sing. If you can catch him, you can find his recent audition with the Players Choir on the AGT, America's Got Talent. They did an amazing audition there, and go check that out. What a great singer too. But Brian, thank you for joining us today. It's truly an honor, and I can't wait for this interview. How are you and your family doing today on this amazing day?
Everybody's pretty good, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Before we get started, our fans can tune in on our Spreaker app where they can ask questions too. So fan interactions is always good on this show. So please, fans, tune in, ask questions too to Brian. But Brandon, I'll let you lead it off here.
Yeah, of course, Brian. It's a pleasure to obviously be here and be able to ask you a bunch of questions too. I remember watching you at the University of Miami, but just going back and doing some research as well. I just wanted to get to know exactly how you got introduced to the game of football, how you even started, because I'm aware that you started in your junior year, right? I know you were lettered in track, but you started in your junior year in high school. Talk about that process of being introduced to football in general there.
I actually started in ninth grade,
Okay.
but then I didn't play my sophomore year, and then I came back my junior year.
Got it.
Growing up, I was always like tall for my size. So back then they had like age and weight restriction. So I couldn't play because of my age. The size I was like for the age of people who were 3 years older than me. And it felt like mentally I was too young to play with them. So if I was 9, I had to play with 12-year-olds. So I couldn't play until high school. So I grew up playing. I started off with wrestling.
Oh.
My mom put me in wrestling first. And I grew up as the only child by my mom. So she had me wrestling first. And then that was to teach discipline. And then to learn to work with others, she put me in the basketball. So I think I started playing basketball. Started wrestling like in first grade, maybe. Mm-hmm. And I did that up until, I want to say I started playing basketball. At least I remember playing at least by 5th grade. And I played that all the way up into high school. And then I got a chance to play football.
Wow.
Yeah. And so one of the coaches, the coaches were always your teachers and stuff like that too. So the coach actually coached my dad when my dad was young, and I had the same name as my dad. So, he was the one who wanted me to come out for football. And I came out for it, and I played defensive end though. So in high school, I played defensive end.
Then switch. Yeah. There we go. Go ahead, man.
Well, yeah. So I'm from Jersey. I'm a Jersey kid too. So for you, from being from Woodbury, New Jersey, huh?
What part?
Jackson, South Jersey.
Jackson?
Yeah, near Six Flags, the amusement park.
Yeah, I'm from South Jersey. I'm close to I'm Woodbury by like Cherry Hill.
Oh,
Philly, Camden.
Yeah. So I live near Six Flags area, Jackson, New Jersey.
What is that? I don't remember what Six Flags. Is that like Central Jersey?
Yeah, Ocean County.
Oh, okay, Ocean County. Okay.
Yeah. So for you being from New Jersey, who are some of the players that you looked up to growing up?
By me being from Jersey, I was an Eagles fan. Oh, okay. So like Reggie White I was a big fan of Reggie White and Jerome Brown. Jerome Brown just happened to went to University of Miami before I even thought about University of Miami. And then Randall Cunningham. But I was a huge Reggie White fan. And actually I got a chance to meet him when I was coming out to get drafted, because I was, going through the agent process, and he was working with an agent by the name of Bus Cook at the time. Mm-hmm. So he met me. I was at my grandmom's house, and he came over there to have a meeting and met me there. And I got a chance to meet him. And he had brought like a jersey, a signed jersey. I guess it was for my mom, because my mom was a big fan as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Reggie White, I was always a fan of like bigger guys, because I was a big guy. Mm-hmm. So like in basketball, Shaq was like my favorite, and then Reggie White in football. And like just because of the strength and like, just kind of reminded me of myself.
Nice.
Absolutely. So I wanted to talk to you about even going to Lackawanna County or Pennsylvania in general and Scranton up in the coal mine, being there in your junior college for the 1 year. And then I believe
I was there
Coach
2 years.
2 years, my bad, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Keel from, just want to talk about the junior college experience in Scranton. Do you feel like, how was such a transition from going now from Woodbury, New Jersey to, junior college down there? And of course, then we'll talk
It
about
helped a lot. My school was a small school. I mean, we didn't have the technology that we have now where people can scout and use the internet. So it's kind of like word of mouth type of thing. Small school, there was a running back behind me. His name was Lamar Sturdivant. He was really big. He was really popular. Somebody sent the tape in. This is crazy. Somebody sent a videotape in to the University of Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like showing him like, hey, look at this guy. He was a running back and he was a DB. But on that film was also me. And they were like, well, who is that? So they came there to see him, but then they also like wanted to see me. And it was after the National Signing Day and everything. So what he said he could do was send me to JUCO, but he wanted me to learn how to play offensive line.
Right.
Remember I told you I played defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
And was I a fan of it? No. But I was like, hey, I can just go to school, get a free education and, for at least 2 years and pursue it. So my transition was, basically I was looking at it to get a free education. And I went weighing like 245 pounds at the time.
Oh my God.
And learning how to play, defensive end, because my school didn't have like a real weight program and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So all that developed. I had gained weight like my first year, at Lackawanna, just from lifting weights and just, I graduated high school, I was 17. So when I first got to Lackawanna for those first, month and a half, I was still 17. Mm-hmm. I turned 18 in that September, so I was still young, I was developing. Because my birthday's in September. So I went there and just developed and just really was like just taking in everything that they were teaching me after I kind of bought into, okay, I guess I got to play offensive line, because I didn't know any offensive line, because I told you my favorite player was Reggie White.
Yeah.
So once I bought into it, and then the guy I had to go against, his name was Nate Russ. They called him Cowboy. He was in his second year. He was a JUCO All-American. I had to go against him every day of practice. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm trying to learn how to get down in the left-hand stands. I'm trying to I'm right-handed. So like that takes time to get used to doing everything out of the left hand when you're right-handed. So I was trying to get used to that and then learn plays and all these things. And I mean, he was giving me headaches. It was just like a lot. Wow. Until I finally got it down. I got it down like kind of in time, like you had all training camp and preseason, but I got it down pretty much in time for like, opening games and stuff like that. And just going against him for like a month and a half prior to playing, it kind of just really developed me. Mm-hmm. I looked at it, he's going to be the best person I go against. He's a JUCO All-American. He's going to be probably the best defensive man I go against, and I got to go against him every day. So
wow,
that did nothing but groom me for, playing the games. And then by the time I got to the game one day, I remember we were doing like warm-ups and it just clicked. And then it was like another guy named Big Kev. Mm-hmm. I was able to drive block him, and he was like 300 pounds at the time. Mm-hmm. My coach was like, do it again. Like he made me do it. I said, okay, he just realized something went off, like just something just clicked. And then I had to do some pass protection against Cowboy, because he was really good at pass rushing. Mm-hmm. And it just like shut down. And he got frustrated. Like he wanted to fight me. It's like, we're on the same team, but don't get it twisted.
Yeah. About that life.
Fighting football a little different.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Wow. He had got a little frustrated, because you're used to like beating somebody, and all of a sudden it just stopped. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was just no more. Mm-hmm. And I was able to just carry that over into the season now. And then by the end of my first year, I became a JUCO All-American.
All-American. There you go.
Wow. Yeah, and we went to a bowl game, out in Utah, the Rotary Bowl out in Utah, and we lost really bad. We were lost really bad out there. There was another guy who ended up becoming pro, Jeremy Stevens, I believe, was a tight end.
Okay.
I remember hearing his name a lot, and then he went on to play professionally. Mm-hmm. There you go. And we were undefeated that season minus the bowl game. Mm-hmm. And then I came back into my second year, which is my sophomore year at Lackawanna. And basically I had like pretty much signed with Iowa, because Iowa was who sent me there. Mm-hmm. But after my first season, Hayden Fry retired. So he retired. So the whole coaching staff is now gone. There's a new coach. So now my ties with Iowa is out the window.
It's out the window. Yeah, for sure.
I don't have any ties with them anymore because of who I signed with. He's retired, which is like just timing. It's crazy, right? So like for a minute, they're shuffling new people and trying to get things in order. But now I'm kind of open to talk to people, and I just became this, JUCO All-American and stuff. So now it's like people can talk to me. Before they couldn't talk to me at all. I sent no letters. Then the guys from Iowa came in. They said, "Oh no, we still would like to offer you a scholarship." But at this point, I said, "No, I just want to see what's out there." So
Arkansas,
I got a chance with my you said Arkansas?
Yeah, Arkansas or Miami. There were the two teams that you came down to.
Oh yeah, because what you know what's funny is my offensive coordinator, he went to Arkansas. So he was really pushing me to go to Arkansas.
Right.
I took some visits and everything. Arkansas was one of them. When I went to Miami, I was coming from the cold to the warm weather. They had me out till 5 o'clock in the morning. Didn't know that Miami stayed open this late. Everything I'm never closed at 2. They kept me out every bit of 5, 6 in the morning.
Right.
Then I had to get up the next morning early, walk around campus. I had got like a cold or something, and I just wasn't feeling well the second night. So I didn't feel like I had the best trip. The first day was cool, but then the second day was like, all right, I'm tired. I haven't slept. And it felt well. But when I went to Arkansas, I had like a great time the whole time. So I really enjoyed my trip more in Arkansas. So believe it or not, it came down between Arkansas and Miami. And my mom was like, "Are you crazy?"
Vacation.
Her and my dad pretty much talked me out of the whole Arkansas thing. Meanwhile, I had my coach, offensive coordinator, really pushing me to go. But I'm glad I chose. I'm glad I chose what I chose.
Yeah.
I remember the coach, Houston Nutt was there at the time when I took my visit. I wonder if he remembers me. Later on. And now he's,
Yeah.
But that was a great experience, and I ended up choosing Miami. Then I had to go from Lackawanna to Miami.
I was gonna say one thing here. I was gonna say one thing between when you're transitioning now from Lackawanna to Miami, Coach Keel, Cristobal, Swayze, how did those guys influence you and kind of make you to the develop you and Vernon Carey to what you were going into the league?
Swayze came in my senior year, or was he there? He might have been in my junior year. I know Tom Moffitt was there first,
right,
as a strength coach. I didn't really care for him too much. He was cool, but I like Swayze. Swayze came in.
Of course. Yeah, I remember Swayze.
Swayze used to do the workouts the week before, so he knew how we were feeling and everything. I just liked his philosophy better. Coach Keel just kind of taught us a lot of things, but I'm going to say Mario Cristobal is who used to pull me and Vernon Carey aside. And he just seen something in us back then, I guess, that we didn't see in ourselves yet. He was even trying to get us to get on these meal plans and eat oatmeal and hard-boiled eggs and stuff for breakfast. I want to eat this. You know what I'm saying? You're 19, 20, I want to eat this for breakfast. Every day. But he was trying to get us to trim up and just be in great shape. We just looked at it. We young. We'll be able to burn this off. But I get it now. When you're young, it's just I'm going to eat oatmeal every day for breakfast or a hard-boiled egg. But I get it. He's seen the potential. And he actually, with me, when I got into the starting lineup role, when I had big games, had big competition, whether it be Alex Brown, Dwight Freeney, Jamal Reynolds, any of those type of guys who I feel like I needed some extra study or whatever, he always kind of stayed, because Coach Keel had the whole offensive line. But Mario would stay with me after practice and have somebody doing some pass rushes and simulate, the player. Jerome McDougal, they would use him a lot too, because Jerome McDougal used to be able to get off the ball really fast, and he was really good for us. So they would use him a lot. And then film study. I remember even nights, you have the team meeting the night before the game and all that stuff, and everybody go up to their room, and I'll just sit downstairs with Mario, and he would go over film. We would really just sit and study, okay, what is this guy doing? Is he the superhero, or is the offensive lineman making a mistake? What's going on? So sometimes I would just figure out, okay, the offensive lineman was step off, or his technique was bad, you know what I'm saying? And I would try to study. it was a lot of study
Mm-hmm.
to be able to figure these players out. And, thankfully Coach Cristobal, put the time in with me. So, I put the time in too.
Yeah.
To really understand, but he took the time and sat there with me to really put that time in with me to give me an idea of what to look for and how to defend, certain moves that I would see. And I needed that.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah. So we are live with former Miami NFL offensive tackle Bryant McKinnie, Super Bowl champion, BCS national champion. We have a fan question for you that just popped in my app. Someone wants to know, how long did it take you to adjust from the defensive position to the offensive position? And they also want to know, how important is it to learn multiple positions throughout your career?
Great question.
Some people, it's good for them to learn multiple positions because they always say the more you know, the more you can do, the more valuable you are. But with me, I wasn't trying to learn. I'm 6'8", so it's not like I'm playing center or guard. You know what I'm saying? So if anything, it's the two tackles, but the left tackle is a premier tackle, so I don't see myself, moving from left to right. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If anything, there's sometimes slide somebody from right to left and then bring somebody else in over to the right or something. But me, once I'm at left tackle, I just didn't plan on giving up that spot or having to learn anything else. And I was very durable, so I didn't really, I never missed a game due to injury. I would play through injuries. Some probably I shouldn't have. And that goes all the way to the league as well. Like, never missed any games for injury. So I feel like that stemmed from junior college because I remember him saying, you can't make the club in the tub. You know what I mean? So stay out of the training room, stuff like that, unless you get tape. So that was something that kind of stuck with me. So some things that I learned in junior college kind of stuck with me for my whole career. Can't make plays on the ground, so you didn't see me falling on the ground too often. I would knock people down, but I wouldn't get down on the ground too, unless it was goal line. But like just certain things, it just kind of stuck with me from there, and I always would just remember that. But what was the question again?
Oh, so they one of our fans wanted to know how long did it take to adjust to defense, offense, and also they want to know how important is it to learn multiple positions throughout your career.
All right, so I answered the multiple positions for me, but it took me about a month and a half to like finally get comfortable. But we were in two-a-days, and we had, you had the preseason, so it was about like a month and a half, because you're there. I feel like we got there like in July, and then your first game was sometime in September. So like end of July, all the way up until first week of September. And then I just got better at it the more, more I did it. But to finally like get used to being in the left hand stand, stuff like that, it took me about a month and a half.
Wow.
So transitioning now to from I can talk forever about Miami because I love your time in Miami. Of course, we can really go into that quite a bit, and not letting up any sacks for your entire career. Championship coming back. By the way, Coach Coker, how was his philosophy just like, as a head coach? Like how did he motivate you guys every single day, or was it more so intrinsic motivation you guys had in that year you guys won the championship?
I feel like Coach Coker was. It was more about, I feel like we were already self-motivated by the time he came, because you got to remember, Rich Davis had convinced me to stay because I was thinking about leaving early.
Yeah,
right. Went to the Browns.
He convinced me to stay, and then like 2 weeks later, he has a meeting and like where's this conversation going?
Yeah.
And he lets us know he's leaving to go to the Browns. I'm like, why would you do that? You just asked me to stay. You leave.
Yeah.
So then during that period of time, it was like Donna Shalala was now about to become the president. And Barry Alvarez from Wisconsin, where she was coming from, was a candidate. He was a strong candidate. And a group of us went up to Paul D., who was the athletic director at the time, and kind of pled our case. And he kind of sat there with a poker face. So I wasn't sure if he really was like listening to us. And I just like made a comment as we were leaving, like, well, I'm just into the supplemental draft. And we really didn't know how he received us, because we went up there to basically lobby for Coach Coker, because we felt like we were one game away. We had lost one game, the second game of the season to Washington out there. And then Florida State ended up playing in the national championship against Oklahoma. Even though we beat them, the way the BCS went, somehow they made it. The only time we ever would cheer for them They lost. So we really went up there to the lobby because we didn't want anything to change, because we liked what we had going. And we feel like if a new coach come, they're going to try to have a new system. You got to learn that, then the new technique, new style, and all that. And it would have slowed us down. So we didn't want that. We wanted to keep what we had. And we already was in that whole model of controlling your own destiny, because that was like a big thing after, trying to rely on Florida State. They be like, we can't afford to lose any games. So we feel like that would slow us down. So we went up there and spoke our piece. And then, as you know, Coach Coker got hired. So when Coach Coker was there, we kind of struck some deals with him too. He knew we lobbied for him. And then also, so when it came time to like practice, normally you have full pads twice a week. But we said, okay, let's do this. Let's have full pads once a week. And if we lose, then we can go in full pads twice a week. And is that a deal?
That's
right. He was like, okay, so that helped keep us a little fresh and things like that. So he said, okay, if you guys lose, then we're going on the full pass when at the point of the season. We're like, that's fine. We didn't lose.
So like, that's smart. There we go. That's so smart, man. Yeah, they think
ahead, so he kind of bought into that. And we're kind of glad he did, because I feel like that kind of helped us to, stay a little fresh. So instead of all the banging twice a week, or just once a week. And he just bought into. He knew we wanted to accomplish, because that off season, everybody was out there like doing all the extra work without coaches, and just wanted to be better. And everybody wanted to get those new trucks. And you see guys like Ezra and James and Bubba Franks going to come back and tell us about the league and stuff like that. Like, everybody wanted to be able to make it there. So that's important too. When you have guys that's in the league or was in the league that was coming back, you have Michael Barrow, Jesse Armstead. All those guys, Michael Irvin, all those guys was coming back who we're familiar with. And you get to see them, they get to tell you things, like it makes you eager and want to go.
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah. So before we get to your NFL draft experience, can you tell us about tell the fans about your 2001 year in Miami? That's when you finished 8th in the Heisman Trophy, won the Outland Trophy, and also you were featured as the Sports Illustrated Player of the Year. Man, you had a great 2001 year, and also you were roommates with Jeremy Shockey, former NFL tight end. So take us to that year.
2001, that was the year where me and Ed Reed became really close that year. Vernon Carey, Shockey was my roommate. We had a barbecue. We did a lot of things together. We had a barbecue at the house, and I remember like Shockey and Reed had got into it because like Shockey put this big steak on the grill when Reed was trying to cook everything for everybody else. They got into it briefly. But that summer we did like a lot of things together as a group. Like a group of them had came back to New Jersey, came home with me to Jersey, South Jersey, and like Philadelphia area. Ed Wilkins, Joaquin Gonzalez, Vernon Carey, Ed Reed, Marquise Fitzgerald. It was like a group of us that all went back home.
Wow.
Came back home with me. And like they came to my neighborhood, we hung out, we went different places, and we just like kind of bonded really for the most part. And then Joaquin, he invited us over to his parents' house. So a lot of that, like I try to explain to people, like a lot of, the team chemistry and being able to win is bonding off the field too. That plays a big part because
of course
it's like your brother now, and you are going to protect them and you're going to like have their back and things like that. So you have to build that rapport on and off the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we had little things like Thursdays, Clinton Portis would take the O-line out to dinner, like meet him in Coconut Grove. He's treating us to dinner and things like that. And that's just for everybody to spend time around each other. We had days where me and Avery, we knew somebody at this place called GameWorks. We'll have some guys come and meet us over there, and we'll, play the games or get stuff to eat, just be around each other. Like we did that a lot. Like we're already around each other in the locker room a lot too, but we still find things to do, outside of the locker room. I was introduced to South Beach by Mario Cristobal. This is funny.
There you go.
First time I ever went to the club on South Beach. Mario Cristobal said, okay, I'm gonna send you down there. I think it was like, I wasn't 21 yet. I'm gonna send you down there, and you look for a ball guy. His name is Hugo, and me and Hugo are still friends. I've known Hugo ever since then. Hugo like in '99 or 2000, and him and Mario knew each other, and he was like, just tell him you're Bryant, and then Mario sent you, and he'll let you in. And I did. And ever since then, Hugo has always, as I've gotten older, just been around and just, and I always remember like that. It's funny is that Mario was the first person to introduce me to South Beach.
Wow.
That's right. So by me having the inside of me going a lot, and people they started to get familiar with my face, because I would go out there, after games and stuff. So then when I would bring people, they just wouldn't, they'd be like, oh, come on, that's right. Oh, y'all together. And they just let us in. And then especially by the time I got to my senior year, we were winning. So they really gonna let you in, So yeah. So shout out to Coach Cristobal, because he definitely did introduce me to that lifestyle. So you had like all those different things that we did for camaraderie and just being around each other and building on and off the field.
Right.
And when it came time to the field, and then each position, they felt like, everybody felt like they were the best, in college football. Like as much work that we do with each other in practice, how you gonna let that person, he's sorry, how you gonna let him do this to you? Like that would be like some of the conversation that people would say too. So so we competed really hard in practice. So it was like, we're going to practice, like, how you gonna get out here and act like you don't know what's going on? So that played a big part of our journey going into the national championship. And everybody kind of hung out and got along. And that's when I kind of look back at you and now, like when I went to the O-line room like a year or two ago, and like all those guys don't hang out. But all of us hung out on and off the field.
That's what I was going to ask you about, like Cristobal being back now, right? Do you think now with that, I have two questions. Him being back in the fold at Miami, do you think that's going to kind of revive the program to back in those 2001 days? Or when will the U be back? Because college football is better when the U is back, right? Bar none.
Right.
Everyone knows
more
that.
entertaining.
More entertaining way. It's 100%. And also, like, you developing with Vernon Carey Sr., seeing his son, kind of grow up now and being with the Wizards, like how surreal is that? But it's a two-part question I had.
It's funny because I remember when Vernon had him, Vernon was like, he ain't gonna play football, though. I'm gonna have him play basketball. He gonna play something else. He gonna do this. The work we used to have to do out there running 110s, Vernon like, right. My son, so Vernon had put that in the atmosphere early.
Manifested that. There you go.
Right, like he's not doing this. He's gonna do something else. He's gonna play basketball, something else. Because Vernon was into basketball more than football.
Oh, really?
I don't even know if you knew that, but
no.
Senior was more into basketball, but he was built more for football. But so it's crazy to see that, because you see him as a little baby in the locker room, and then now where he's at now. But I don't know.
Cristobal. We have Cristobal, like Cristobal being back in the fold at Miami. Like you think
so him being back in the fold. Well, I mean, you have two things. You have Mario Cristobal, who was a player at University of Miami, who knew what it takes and won 2 national championships as a player. And then also as a coach, he won a national championship. So he knows what success looks like at University of Miami, where you had these other coaches come in who didn't really have a clue and went by what they might have heard or what they thought, and was really changing the dynamic of the school. And it just wasn't Miami anymore. And then now the players were becoming pushed far, far more, back from like the scene and being around, where that made a big impact on us. When we just did a camp on Saturday, and Cristobal was talking to us, and I said, and like he wanted to start getting guys back on the sideline and things like that. And I said, yeah, that's important. I said, because when I was playing, you had like Warren Sapp and Michael Irvin and Branko. So I didn't want to look like a scrub out there on the field. No. So my levels want to raise. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Like, of course, like they're all right there. Like your level of play is going to raise because you don't want to look bad in front of them. Yeah. I said, but that's been missing for over a decade. So nice. Bringing that back, I feel like it's definitely important. And that was something he mentioned, is working on getting that back into play. So that's important.
Absolutely.
So we have another fan question for you. They want to know, what was your type of music during your playing career?
Uncle Luke, Big Freaky.
Did your research?
Yeah.
Playing where? Miami? Depending on where I was playing at.
Oh, so one of our fans want to know, like, what did you listen to during pregame?
I mean, pretty much hip hop. Whatever song, like something like rowdy. I listened to my music I needed music. Music is what got me going. So it was like I always had to have some type of headphones or something on. I had the same routine, come in there, read the media guide, like same exact routine every day, every week. Get the same ankle taped. If I didn't, it was like I just felt like it was gonna be off. I don't know, just some superstitious stuff. I had like you know, like artists, they have like a rider of things that they need, that they require. Well, why I low-key had one since college. So they knew, and then they like transferred over to when I got to Minnesota. And then when I got to, it's like, who's telling these people? Because then when I got to Baltimore, they knew, and then here the Dolphins. So the night before games, I always had to have cereal. It was like 6 boxes of little mini boxes of cereal. Take back to my room, and I would eat it the night before. I started in college. 2 times, right? I didn't do it. I didn't do the cereal thing, and I ordered room service. I ordered room service one time. I want to say as our last game of the season, my senior year, I ordered room service. I get out there and tear my ACL. I mean, not my ACL, my meniscus.
Jeez.
I want to say it was either Boston College. Was that the last game, Boston College?
I think it was the last game, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I got injured in that game. So I want to say somewhere in the first half or something, beginning of the third, I got injured in that game. And tore my meniscus. And then in 2007 with Minnesota, I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm going to order room service. Why I go out there and same knee, tear the meniscus again. I'm never ordering room service again, because what's the odds that the 2 times I ordered room service the night before the game instead of my cereal, I get injured? So I was just like, that's crazy. So yeah, never did it. That happened. One happened in 2001. The next one happened in 2007. Like, I waited all that time to finally do it, and injured again. I'm not ordering this no more.
To be honest, I think that's a Libra thing. I'm a Libra as well too, and if I don't do something, I just tore my Achilles playing football, right? Just because I didn't do the same routine. So I think it's a Libra thing for sure. Anyways, so, for sure, man. Yeah.
When's your birthday?
I'm October 18th.
Okay.
18th. Yeah. So still in that Libra sense. But anyways,
yeah,
man.
So can you take us back to tell us about your NFL draft experience? Obviously, you got drafted round 1, pick 7, 2022 by the Minnesota Vikings, and you got to play with players like Dante Culpepper, Randy Moss. Man, take us to that experience.
At the draft, they had asked me to name 3 players on the Vikings. I only knew 2 because they had just did like a clean sweep. Like Chris Carter wasn't there no more. It was basically a new team. So like it was like a rebuilding year or something. So when I came in, Corey Shavis, like a whole bunch of other veterans that had came to that team there. So when I was naming people, they were like, they're not there anymore. I'm like, the only person I knew was Randy Moss and Johnny Culpepper.
Yeah.
But then I realized too when I got there that it was like a rebuild for the team. But that was a great experience. Actually became really close with Randy. Actually, still pretty close with Randy. Even when he had the event in Minnesota during Super Bowl for his Hall of Fame, he invited me. I went. He had something here in Miami, like a private dinner. He invited me. Like he always stays in touch. Me and him have been good friends for a while. Culpepper's from down here, so he had some family in Miami who, once they knew I was going there, like make sure he connected us and everything. You had Adrian Peterson, you had Brett Favre.
Yep.
You had a few other guys that, really good that played on the same team. Minnesota was a great experience. It was a difference. It was an adjustment coming from Miami to go to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Just because things are like night and day. Miami and Minnesota is not the same at all. Like nothing about it.
Like Minnetonka.
So even when my friends from Miami would come to games and stuff, they would be dressed like,
like
I guess nothing kind of, because that's the culture in Miami. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Miami is like a Latin culture, is like show a lot of skin, but up in Minnesota it's very bundled up and conservative. But it's a big difference. But I made an adjustment there. I was there for 9 years, so I learned to adjust.
Yeah, and a question there, even going into Minnesota, like you said, I remember in one of the interviews, you said that you felt that there was more pressure because Corey Stringer passed away the year before, and you jumping into that, so they kind of wanted you to fill the void. Like going into that, and especially even into that training camp, do you kind of feel that people are like, "Hey, you're going to be you're filling that void"? Is that where did that come from?
I thought that right away. Like when I went to Minnesota, I felt like they were bringing me here to fill this void, even though I think he was a right tackle. But it was like they had just lost him the season before. I was like, oh gosh. And then I was like kind of like worried about just a lot of different things. like why, how did they allow that to happen? And then it was like, I'm a big guy too. So training camp and stuff like that.
Wow.
Somebody just texted me, somebody Serena's playing right now.
Yeah, Serena Williams is playing right now. Yep, as we speak.
What is it?
Is this I think it's
no, it's Wimbledon, but like, is it like the first set?
I think first. I don't know. Let me.
All right.
Let's see. Let's Serena Williams on the live show. Let's go. Let's see here.
All right.
She is the GOAT. She's my favorite tennis player to watch.
Right.
Oh, by far, legend. There you go.
She's exciting to watch.
Hey, you got good feet. You got good feet, man. Right. So you play tennis as well?
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Nice.
There we go. That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think she's live right now, right? He said your friend.
Yeah.
Let me check.
I started playing tennis because of Venus.
Oh wow.
Oh, there you go.
If you look on YouTube, just type in Bryant McKinnie, Venus Williams tennis, you'll see her giving me a lesson. I didn't think tennis was hard. And she showed me it was.
Yeah, for sure. I do want to say that you had great quotes, especially when you said like, the old line is more so they crank up, crank up the car.
The old line is the
quarterback's engine. There we go. Yeah.
The quarterback is the driver. The receiver, the running backs, tight ends is the wheels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Car not gonna go anywhere if their engine ain't cranking up.
That is fact. That is facts. Playing football down
so
here.
If they're not moving nobody out the way, they ain't going anywhere.
That is fact. That is an absolute fact.
Better get a new engine.
All right, Nathan, you have anything?
Yeah. So what was it like playing in front of the Minnesota Vikings fans? That in my opinion, I think that's one of the toughest stadiums to play in for opposing teams. And obviously, you got the Skull fans doing this. And what was that like for you playing in front of those fans and bringing it every day?
Those fans really like, they really like football. That's one of those states and cities that they're really into football. You know what I'm saying? Like how you have like Wisconsin, Green Bay, like they're really into it. Like for football season coming, like they're canceling everything else to make sure that they're in front of a TV or at the stadium to watch it. So it's big there for them. So you appreciate it. So I enjoyed playing there. And what's crazy is even when I left there and went to Baltimore, I felt like, well, why did Minnesota have this? Because I went to Baltimore. Baltimore had something called Purple Fridays. Everybody in the community wore purple. And I'm like, what Minnesota had this? Like, but I feel like it made sense. Like, that was crazy.
You felt, I even saw in another article too, you said you felt more at home, not more at home, but more comfortable playing in Baltimore with Ed Reed and obviously Ray Lewis and so on and so forth.
That was the first time I ever had like a fellow Hurricane on my team. Like I was 9 years in Minnesota and no other body from Miami was ever my teammate.
Right.
Where, Ed had, when I got there was like 4 or 5 Hurricanes there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then what made me feel better too is my center, Matt Burke, he was there too. So I started off with him like his first 7 years in Minnesota, and then he left 2 years before me and went to Baltimore. So when it's time for me to, move, and then Baltimore's an option, I'm like, well, I'm very familiar with Burke and his, calling. So this is a great fit for me because I'm just going back to something else I'm familiar with.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And even when he wasn't in Minnesota, I kind of missed him a little bit just because I was so used to having him there. Mm-hmm. So to go back to that was just super easy.
Yeah, so you got Serena.
And then you had like Michael Orr, like you had those other guys too.
Oh, Michael Orr, yeah.
Became friends with.
Michael Orr was there.
Yeah, and Ray Rice was super like welcoming. And then, Ed was happy that we finally were teammates again. So if you really look at it, Ed Reed and I have won the national championship and the Super Bowl together. We're the only two.
Yeah.
That's
dominant.
That's amazing story right there. And speaking of Michael Orr, your fellow offensive lineman, man, what a great story. He's been through a lot, and what an amazing person, amazing story. And and it must have been special for you just to play with him and seeing him go about his business.
Oh, for sure. Just knowing his story and playing at one point against him because like a year or two prior, they had came to Minnesota, and then sorry, somebody's distracting me with the tennis thing. They came to Minnesota and we played against them, but then being his teammate, then I understood like his work ethic and everything like that. It was great. Like it was great to be around him and have him as a teammate. And he actually just sent me an invitation. He's getting married in November, so he sent me an invitation. I just got that.
There you go.
You got a tennis of the 5-5 in the third set.
It's the third set?
Yeah.
Who's winning the other two?
Oh my God.
That's all good.
It's
the third set. They each won one apiece.
So
yeah, every month. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's tied. That's a big game.
Yeah.
There you go. Keep you posted. I'm going to ask you one more thing, man. I remember you talking about Mekhi Benton with the New York Giants when he had to go protect Sam Darnold. You said he's got good feet. You know, one of your coaches said, as long as you move your feet, you never get beat. And another thing you said as well, too, is more so your job as offensive lineman, especially as a left tackle, is about hand placement. Right? You can definitely probably think that you can overpower every one of these guys, but if they have you in the hand placement, that's where they get you. So how did you master your hand placement as an offensive, as a left tackle?
I started watching because in coming out of college, they always had me watching Orlando Pace because we're like the same height.
Yeah.
Then they started having me watch Jonathan Ogden because he's a similar height as well.
Yeah, there you go.
But then I learned about Walter Jones, and I started watching him. And we were playing out in Seattle, and I was just watching him and just telling me how good he was. And he had great hand placement. So I would watch to see what he was doing with his hands. So honestly, with that, I started looking at him and seeing how he used his hands and replacing his hands and things like that. Like, I probably was doing it, before, but I started really tuning in and just paying attention and watching him at some point early in my career in the NFL.
Yeah, speaking of Walter Jones, he was on the show also 2 years ago. So we had the honor of speaking to him, and such an amazing person, and two good people to learn from: Orlando Pace and Walter Jones. Two of the best, in my opinion, to play that position. But tell us about your Super Bowl experience. What was it like winning the Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens? Obviously, winning the national championship, and you just mentioned Super Bowl with Ed Reed. So how special was it for you just being his teammate again and winning, like you said, winning 2 championships with him, basically?
Well, I was in the NFC Championship in 2009, and then the year before we was in the AFC Championship, against New England. So it was like I always felt like I just kept knocking on the door, but then the third time's a charm, because then we got in then the next year. So to finally be there, and it's been 11 years to finally get in that position to play. So now it's like, all right, I'm here, but now we got to win still. So. That's kind of the thing we kind of focused on, was like, we just got to focus on winning this game, because, I understand Frank's younger than us, but Frank, you got more time, you got more chances than we do. Me and Ed was both at our 11th year. Ray Lewis was going to retire the year before had we had won or made it to the Super Bowl, but he came back, so he was like, send him out in confetti. So we just wanted to kind of honor that. He was a big reason why I even ended up in Baltimore. So we were trying to just, he kept telling me I was a missing piece, and then he's like a prophet because he spoke a lot of things into existence.
And even that the big blackout that happened at halftime.
That was a big momentum change though, because we were up big, and then all of a sudden that happened, and then the fact that as an offense, you hadn't been on the field in over an hour because you got halftime that was 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We back out the second half. Jacoby Jones ran it back for a touchdown. Now we're just still sitting there again. Now defense is on the field, and then as they're making it to the 50-yard line, the lights go out. So the lights went out for another 30 minutes. So that's over an hour sitting there, no more rhythm, no nothing, where their offense just was on the field. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Plus, we haven't done anything in over an hour. So it was a big momentum change, but we were able to hold on and win that game.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Nathan.
Yeah, so Jacoby Jones was another one on the show, man. What a great receiver, too, to play the game. And
I need to catch this match, y'all.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
for sure. I was about to say, gotta wrap it up.
So, all right. The last 2 things here. Our team is part of this foundation. It's called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. Former NFL coach. Now he's coaching at Grambling State. We're trying to help him prevent human trafficking, making sure the community stays safe, the kids stay safe. So we'll send you the foundation.
Okay.
And then the last thing here, would you like to say anything to the nurses, doctors, and all the essential workers right now?
Regarding COVID?
Yeah, would you like to say anything to them? Like the nurses?
I would say keep up the great work. And and keeping, trying to keep everybody safe and putting their life on the line at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So tell our fans where they can find you on social media.
Everything is Bryant McKinnie, BRYANT MCKINNIE on every platform, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Mac and Mika Live, of course, the podcast.
Mac and Mika Live, my podcast.
Yep.
And also have Believe in Vikings podcast too, which we do on Wednesdays and comes out like Wednesday night or Thursday morning.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, everyone
Pleasure,
check out his podcast. Go follow him on Instagram and Twitter, man, and also go check out his AGT performance with his players quarter. That was amazing. And Brandon, what do you?
And my company, that's Chat.
Yeah, you can find me at of course Superflex Sports or OXP Media. You can find me at Graham_JB on Instagram. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, Brian, appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, no problem.